and welcome to Grand Cuisine. Today on Grand Cuisine, we are making chicken gumbo. For our recipe for chicken gumbo, I have chosen a recipe from Rufus Estes from the cookbook Good Things to Eat. He is actually the first African-American cookbook author, and a really amazing cookbook that this is, and the recipe itself is really unique. It is a chicken gumbo Creole style. Mr. Estes was actually born in 1857, a slave in Tennessee. He moved to Nashville, Tennessee once freed, and as a teenager, he made his way to the Pullman cars, the famous Pullman cars of the railroad, where he worked for many years, a chef on the railroad, serving such notables as Grover Cleveland and President Harrison. Once he left the railroad, he then began to work for the Consolidated Steel Corporation. So an amazing chef, a really, really well-developed cookbook. So we're going to use his recipe for chicken gumbo, and the recipe is 1 small chicken. We're actually using chicken thighs, half a pound of diced ham, some andouille sausage, although not his recipe, we're adding just a little bit in. We're also doing 2 onions that are chopped, 1 red bell pepper that is chopped, 3 tomatoes that are peeled, seeded, and chopped, about a cup of okra. We're using slightly less than what Mr. Estes, Chef Estes, tells us to use. We're using chopped garlic, bay leaf, salt, cayenne pepper. We're using 4 ounces of butter and 4 ounces of olive oil. We're using 2 tablespoons of flour, and we're going to add 3 quarts of boiling water to this. And we will finish it all off with about a pound of shrimp. So we're just finishing up some prep. We're finishing cutting our okra, taking off the tops of our okra, and then we're going to cut them into about 1/2-inch pieces. And of course, this goes into our gumbo. Okra is a staple in many gumbos, and certainly in Chef Estes' gumbo. Of course, okra was introduced to us by the Africans, and so you see this in many of their recipes. So the okra we're doing, or excuse me, the gumbo that we're doing is Creole style. And there's actually, as I found out in my research, there are 2 types of gumbo. One is Creole and the other is Cajun. Now, Creole really was the more well-known style of gumbo, and the one that we most commonly see in cookbooks from the 18 and 1900s. So with the Creole style of gumbo, it was more tomato-based, and it also had a more intense quantity of seafood, and it was not as hot. There's no filet powder in it, nor is there the very, very famous dark roux that we normally associate with gumbo. All of those things are based on the Cajun style gumbo. So Creole gumbo was actually a flour and butter based roux, and it was generally not cooked, or maybe even just rice. Whereas the Cajun style was the oil and flour roux that was heavily cooked. Creole had more vegetables, including tomatoes, where Cajun does not have tomatoes. In fact, Creole is more of a soup, where Cajun is more of a stew. Research tells me that Creole was really invented by the wealthy patrons of Louisiana, and it was the Cajun that was more of the indigenous people of the Acadiana region. In fact, the Choctaw Indians actually introduced them to fila gumbo, into fila powder. So a very distinct difference. So Here I have taken my tomatoes and I have blanched them by putting them into some boiling water so that the peels are easily removed. And I'm taking off the peel of my tomatoes, except everywhere but this one little spot here. And I'm going to peel my tomatoes and remove that peel. And then I'm also going to cut them. And I'm going to just dice them up a little bit so that we can add them into our soup. There we go. That one's a little temperamental on me. Hopefully this one will come off a lot easier. There we go. So we're going to peel those. And then we're going to go ahead and seed these. And you want to do this because you're really offering a more elegant version. So Chef Estes is giving us what would be a much more elegant version, something that he would serve in a Pullman dining car or something that he would serve at corporate with the Consolidated Steel Corporation. So we're going to go ahead and cut these in half, just like that. And then I'm going to take and I'm just going to push out all of those seeds all the way around and eliminate all of those seeds. Try to get them completely. This, of course, in French is called tomato concasse. And then once I have all of the seeds out, I'm going to simply take it and I'm going to dice them up. Just cut across and turn and cut. And then this will be ready for our soup. So I'm going to start with my butter and my oil. Once again, about 4 ounces of each. And we're just going to melt that up. Now, Mr. Estes, Chef Estes, tells us to really layer our chopped ham in the bottom of our pan and then just add all the other ingredients. We're going to take a little bit more of a technical approach, and we're going to saute our onions and garlic and our peppers, and then we're going to add flour, make a roux, and then finish out. Meanwhile, I want to show you right here that we are following him. He advises us to take our whole chicken, in this case, we're just using chicken thighs, and put it into a pan of water and bring it to a simmer and just allow those to simmer until the chicken is completely done, adding a little bit of salt. And then I know we're going to grab a little bit of that liquid from that. So here is our oil and our butter that is nice and melted. And I'm going to add in, I'm going to add in my onions. And this is 2 whole onions that are chopped. And we're going to stir those around and let those cook. And we're also going to add in our garlic. And we have about 3 cloves of garlic there. And then we're going to add in our red bell pepper. Now notice also with this recipe is that we don't have the Holy Trinity. Chef Estes does not incorporate celery with our peppers and our onions. So once again, I think that may be more of a modern twist that we really didn't see in the 1850s, 1870s when this recipe was created, perhaps the 1890s. So we're going to allow this to saute, and then we will add in our flour and make our roux. So we are allowing our onions and our garlic and our pepper to really kind of sweat in our pan here. This is what's so wonderful about a wood cook stove is it really cooks so gently, and really allows things to kind of mellow and cook gently. This, of course, is our Lacunza Classica that we are cooking on. If you're cooking on a regular stove, a gas or an electric stove, you would do this on about medium heat. So now that our onions and our aromatics are sweated, kind of softened up, we're going to add in our flour. And I'm just going to sprinkle that right over and just stir that right in. And once again, we're not going to get any color on our flour whatsoever. So we're going to just let that cook for just a minute. Meanwhile, with my chicken, it's kind of cooking quickly. So I'm going to turn it down, right? And on a wood cook stove, we're just going to move it over just a little bit, and that will lower our heat so it turns it down a little bit. So we are letting the flour cook in, and that looks great. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in our water. So I've got about 3 quarts of boiling water, and I'm just going to add some right in here, kind of stir that in. And there we go. And we're just going to keep adding that in. So, and we'll want to bring this to a boil and let this cook, but this is a really pretty simple recipe. So we're just going to add all of this water in, and we will let it cook. Once again, this is more of a soup as opposed to a stew. There we go. So we'll add that, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in my remaining ingredients. I'm going to add in my tomatoes. I'm going to add in my okra. I'm going to add in my ham. And I'm going to add in my bay leaf. I'm going to season it with a little salt and cayenne. And then, as I said, we wanted a little bit of andouille, so we're going to add in a little bit of our andouille sausage. So we're going to add in just a little bit into there. Stir this all up. Oh, that looks really good. Not the real dark profile that you normally think of with a gumbo, but a really, really wonderful flavor. So we're going to allow this to come to a boil, let it simmer at least for a good hour or so. And meanwhile, we're letting our chicken cook until it is tender. We're going to take it off of the heat. We're going to remove the meat from the bone, and then we're going to add all of our meat to our gumbo and then finish it up. So our chicken has been simmering and it's ready to come off the heat. And I'm going to test it simply by taking a fork and putting it straight into the chicken. And then it should easily remove. Anytime you want to check meat to see if it's done, like a pot roast or anything like that, you simply take a fork and put it straight in and then just remove it. And it should easily come out. So this is ready to come off the heat. We're going to take it off, let it cool down a minute, and then we're going to take the chicken meat from the bone and then add it to our simmering gumbo. So we've allowed our chicken gumbo to cook for a good hour, reducing it down, seasoning it with our salt and our cayenne. We've added in our chicken, and it's developing into a really nice, wonderful, flavorful soup. We're going to add in our shrimp. We're going to let those cook for just a few minutes, and then we'll be ready to plate this. We're going to add in our shrimp. We're also going to add in some chopped parsley just to give it a little bit of color. And then we're going to let those shrimp poach in there for maybe 5 minutes. And then we'll be ready to plate it with some wonderful rice. So, if you like what we do here at Grand Cuisine, please subscribe to us. We are looking to get as many subscribers as possible. As you know, with YouTube, the more subscribers you have, then the more we're able to offer you. So like it, subscribe to us. Please follow us for many more recipes. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. As you know, we're cooking on our Lacunza Classica range, and we have a great partnership with Lacunza. And if you ever are interested in getting a range like this for yourself, well, they are offering some great incentives if you mention Grand Cuisine. So you can get their information on the website in our notes or their phone number. Really emailing them is best, and mention Grand Cuisine. And we would love it that if you keep on watching us, keep on supporting us, and please look at our Facebook, Grand Cuisine, and chime in there too. So you know when we are finished cooking at Grand Cuisine, because Humphrey is right here, ready and waiting. He's my biggest taster, always ready to help out. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put some rice into a bowl. Now, once again, Chef Estes did not tell us to do rice, but how can we have gumbo without rice? And then we're going to take just a big ladle full of our gumbo, put it directly over our rice, and look at that. That is our Creole gumbo. Oh, that looks so good. And then we're going to go ahead and just have a little bite. It is piping hot. Really so good. It's got a wonderful fresh flavor with the okra. Really, the okra is not overpowering, and it's great flavor with the peppers. The andouille sausage certainly adds a little bit of a kick to it. So there we go. Chicken gumbo from Chef Rufus Estes. Good things to eat. We are so thrilled that you have spent the time with us again. Please try making it. Let us know what you think, and we will see you soon. Happy cooking.